Happy Halloween and hello again. Trust everyone's having a great day. Today I just wanted to take a quick look at one of my favorite films. I feel it's maybe one of the most underrated, underappreciated films. So that movie is Trick or Treat, the 1986 film. So we basically do have this one kid named Eddie. Obviously he's really into rock music, and he recently discovers that his hero, Sammy Carr, has been the victim of an unfortunate burning or fire incident. So he sort of learns by way of one of his, or I guess he accidentally learns a way to resurrect Sammy Carr by way of his last or unreleased album. And basically he plays the album backward, very stereotypical black mass type nonsense. So basically the spirit of Sammy Carr basically tells him how he can exact revenge on his enemies, as there are some kids that have been pushing him around. Obviously Eddie's somewhat of a high school outcast. Obviously things are going okay at first, and eventually things take somewhat of a dark turn as Sammy obviously wants out of that prison, and eventually Eddie accidentally spills a soda on the record, causes somewhat of a short, and the electrical charge for some reason is enough to release Sammy into the real world, I guess you could say. So then he's really causing havoc. Of course there are some plot holes in the film. It's obviously, you know, very 80s, but it's not super cheesy. I think it's a really good film. One of the scenes that kind of does have me just kind of like a bit mind-boggled is there's this one scene. Obviously Eddie made a cassette copy of the album and gave it to his enemies, just sort of as a way of unleashing Sammy onto them. And we basically have this one scene with this flat-chested bimbo doing a striptease in the car while she's listening to her Walkman, not realizing that there's somewhat of a demon forming in the car. So he basically just waits until she's just completely naked. She opens her eyes, realizes she's not alone, and gets eaten. So it doesn't necessarily make sense, but I guess as far as just trying to keep certain audience members interested, it does achieve that. Although one could just easily assume maybe demons just can't digest clothes, so it was just more of a matter of convenience for the demon. We also do have a few cameos by Gene Simmons, who plays a disc jockey, I guess somewhat of a version of Wolfman Jack. He had originally been offered the role of Sammy Carr and supposedly turned it down because he didn't really care too much for the role, but did agree to do a smaller role as the DJ. We also have a very brief cameo with Ozzy Osbourne playing a television evangelist, which is just hilarious to me considering his background and obviously, you know, just being such a hard rocker at the time. And so he's preaching against something which he does for a living, and you know, just very I find it very ironic, but he's also just on the show repeating obscene music lyrics, just speaking about how evil music is and whatnot. And basically the Sammy Carr character just sort of I guess just sort of kills him by way of radio wave. I'm not really too sure on that, but definitely very interesting. Obviously it is discovered in the movie that he can only travel through radio or electric channels, so eventually at some point Eddie finds a way to retrap him in a car stereo by way of a cassette player and basically drives the vehicle over a cliff. So that's pretty much the end of the film there. But like I've said, it's definitely one of my favorite films. The film itself is actually a lot harder to find now than it was in, say, 2000. I believe that was the first time it had been released onto DVD. And I actually literally just remember buying it out of a $5 Walmart bin. Out of curiosity, I just did a search. You're lucky if you find it used for $8, but I believe the most pricey I have found it is up to $44. And that's for people claiming that it's a new and sealed packaging, although I'm pretty sure it's just a lousy bootleg. I know at one point Anchor Bay did plan to release a 20th anniversary edition of the film, and that project was unfortunately buried because there were some copyright issues with the music used in the film. So that really, stinks up to hell and high water. It would have just been really awesome to have a different copy of that film. But yeah, I would say definitely if you can get a hold of it. I mean, obviously used copy isn't too pricey, so it's not too bad. It's not really a bad investment. I think it's a great film. It's obviously one of the films I grew up with as a kid. I actually had a bootleg of it. I will shamelessly admit to that. But that is pretty much all I have for you today, and hope everyone enjoys their Halloween. I'm obviously wearing a seasonal shirt, so I guess this is my version of the hideous holiday sweater. I just sort of have a little googly-eyed owl here on my shirt, just kind of sparkly little fella here. But yeah, I hope everybody is safe and enjoys their evening, and I will talk to you later.